From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, June the 24th, 2024. As fierce fighting continues in Gaza between Israeli troops and terror group Hamas, the IDF said that 25-year-old Sergeant First Class in Reserve Malkia Gross was killed on Saturday in southern Gaza. The IDF also announced the death of 39-year-old IDF Sergeant Major Muhammad al-Atrash, who was apparently believed to have been held as a live hostage in Gaza. But the IDF said today that he was in fact murdered by Hamas on October the 7th, his remains being held by the terror group in Gaza. Some 120 hostages are still being held in Gaza now for 262 days. And today, at the request of the families of 3 hostages, Hirsch Goldberg Polin, Or Levy, and Elia Cohen, video was shared showing parts of their brutal capture to illustrate the urgency of the situation and push for a hostage deal. The Hostages and Missing Families Forum saying that every day that passes puts the hostages at greater risk and diminishes our chances of bringing them back safely. We must approve and implement an agreement that will bring all hostages home, the living for rehabilitation and the murdered for proper burial. The IDF shared the video as well, vowing Hirsch or Elia and the 117 hostages, we will continue doing everything in our power to bring you back home. The IDF continues to eliminate terrorists and destroy terror infrastructure in Gaza. Last night, it said an airstrike took out a Hamas terrorist who took part in a project to develop strategic weapons for the terrorist organization, and commanded several terrorist squads in the organization involved in developing weapons. Rockets were launched at southern Israel from Gaza today, including reportedly towards the city of Ashkelon. The Palestinian Islamic Jihad terror group reportedly took responsibility. The IDF said both rockets were intercepted by the Iron Dome. And the IDF continues to defend its northern border. Last night, it said as a result of an anti-tank missile hit in the Metula region, 2 IDF reserve soldiers, members of a standby squad, were seriously and lightly injured, respectively. Israeli fighter jets responded, hitting terror targets of terror group Hezbollah in Lebanon. Israel's Minister of Defense, Yoav Gallant, arrived early this morning in Washington for a series of meetings. Upon his departure from Israel, Gallant said he would be meeting with senior American officials, including his U.S. counterpart, Lloyd Austin, who invited Gallant to the meetings in D.C. To discuss, Gallant said, with them the efforts to return the hostages, the Gaza front and the Lebanon front. He said these meetings are of crucial importance at this time. The United States is our main ally, and the deep ties between the countries are more important than ever. Gallant met today with senior White House advisor Amos Hochstein, U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, and the leaders of pro-Israel lobby AIPAC. Turning now to Russia, where last night gunmen attacked 2 churches and 2 synagogues in the Dagestan region. One of the church's priests was killed in the attack. There were no injuries reportedly at the synagogues, which were empty of worshipers at the time. One of the synagogues was burned to the ground. A total of 20 people, including the priest, several police officers, and civilians were killed. World Jewish Congress President Ronald Lauder said an attack on the rights of individuals to practice their faiths freely and openly is an attack on humanity. As we await more information on the motivations of the attackers, we are reminded of the danger posed by anti-Semitism and all religious-based violence. Closer to home, disturbing anti-Israel protests were held this weekend in New York and Los Angeles. Protesters on Friday at New York City's Hunter College displayed symbols of terror groups Hamas and Hezbollah and chanted, "We won't condemn resistance and Israel will never win." And on Sunday, anti-Israel demonstrators protested outside the Adas Torah Synagogue in Los Angeles, where an Israeli real estate fair was being held. The anti-Israel protesters reportedly trying to block the entrance to the synagogue. Clashes broke out between them and Israel supporters. Police were called to the scene. U.S. President Joe Biden responded to the incident as well. He said in response, "I'm appalled by the scenes outside of Adas Torah Synagogue in Los Angeles. Intimidating Jewish congregants is dangerous, unconscionable, anti-Semitic, and un-American." Biden said Americans have a right to peaceful protest, but blocking access to a house of worship and engaging in violence is never acceptable. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Monday, June the 24th at 7 o'clock, episode 5 of the hit Israeli TV series Srugim. That is followed by Muzika with Israeli singer Karolina. At 8, Abigail Pogrebin is joined by Jewish scholar and author Devora Steinmetz to discuss ideas from her book, Why Rain Comes From Above. At 8:30, Shahar Azani speaks with NATAN Worldwide Disaster Relief's chairman Daniel Kahn and newly appointed CEO Alice Miller to discuss Israeli resilience, the crucial role of Israeli civil society on October the 7th and beyond, and their ongoing global relief work. At 9, Yiska Smith is on L'chaim. At 10, it's Good Week Israel, which is also coming up next. At 10:30, a replay of this newscast. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, June the 24th, 2024. I'm Teisha Bader. Am Yisrael Chai.